Blog Talk Radio.
Join BluPrint Radio each Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. BluPrint Radio host Gloria Thornwell interviews organization leaders on trends and best practices in business and human capital management, business and human resource leadership, and being a change champion in the new global business economy. www.blogtalkradio.com/BluPrint LLC.
Hi, and welcome to BluPrint Radio. BluPrint Radio is a division of the BluPrint Leadership Institute, and on the BluPrint Radio show, we interview organization leaders and change management professionals who are subject matter experts in human capital management, business strategy, government contracting, and those who have reinvented and led organization transformation in the new global and changing economy. I'm Gloria Thornwell, Human Resource and Management Consultant and your BluPrint Radio show host. Today is part 3 of our 3-part series on executive coaching. And in part 1 of our executive coaching discussion, we defined executive leadership and life coaching, and then we introduced coaching as a leadership model. In part 2, we reviewed coaching as a business tool for women leaders and how women can use coaching strategies to advance their value in the workplace. On this episode, we'll complete our executive coaching series with part 3, Coaching for Transformation. We learned in previous episodes that the executive and leadership coach is a partner and a trusted agent to business executives and to organization leaders. And sometimes coaches team with executives and help them to talk about the frameworks that define organization performance and in due course position them to shift so that they are prepared to outperform the competition. The coach's role can be particularly useful and critical when organizations are facing enterprise-wide initiatives and changes like restructure, reorganization, downsizing, and others. It's at this stage that the executive and leadership coach is tasked, or may be tasked, rather, with organization coaching, which sometimes is referred to as team or group coaching. Team or group coaching is also ideal and is good for new teams that may be under pressure and are tasked with reporting results pretty quickly. Highly successful organizations, however, understand that both individual and team coaching is important in the change management and transformation processes. On today's episode, I will interview Ayana Coston, a certified life and executive coach, a member of Lockheed Martin's Enterprise Learning Team, and president of Sharp Corners Coaching. Ayana has over a decade of professional human resources experience, including learning and development, talent development, and talent management. She's earned a master's degree in organization development from American University. She is a graduate of the Coaches Training Institute and an active member of the International Coaching Federation. Welcome, Ayana, to BluPrint Radio. So team and group coaching is, again, it's beneficial to organizations, particularly as they prepare for transformation in the new global and technological business market. So during the transformation processes, coaches may help teams to do the following: to clarify their goals, to identify obstacles to change, to explore options and develop appropriate action plans, perhaps to understand the barriers to performance that are hindering the team, to fully develop the team into a more cohesive, trusting, and collaborative unit. And so really there are just too many for me to list here during my monologue. So instead, after our commercial break, Ayana Coston, certified life and executive coach, will help us to better understand how coaching can lead organization transformation. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that when you take a BluPrint Leadership Institute course, you can earn credits toward your PHR, SPHR, and GPHR recertification? The BluPrint Leadership Institute is certified by the Human Resource Certification Institute and by the International Accreditation Organization. Earn CEUs in project management, finance, executive development, and in other disciplines that will keep you current as a 21st century business leader. Register today. www.bluprintradio.com www.blueprint-llc.com.
Welcome back to BluPrint Radio. I'm Gloria Thornwell, your BluPrint Radio show host. Today we are completing part 3 of our executive coaching series, and our guest is Ayana Coston, certified life and executive coach. She's going to discuss with us in what way coaching can be the organization change agent, how coaching can increase organization engagement, and ultimately accelerate organization transformation. Ayana, I want to make sure you're on the line and that you can hear us. I apologize for the pause. Are you there, and can you hear me?
Hi, Gloria. I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining our show today. And so, Ayana, I'm just going to dive right into the questions if you don't mind.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so my first question is, so should coaching be included in an organization's business strategy?
You know, Gloria, this is an excellent question, and my quick answer is absolutely, positively, it should be included. And when I think about inclusion in the business strategy, I think in terms of this is something that could be included under the HR strategy or a sub-bullet under, let's say, training and development. Keeping in mind that my lens for today's discussion on coaching is what we call a professional coach as defined by the ICF. So not so much a counselor or a performance coach or a person that has conversations around behavior, but as ICF defines it as a partnership. And when you partner with your employees in a way that's creative and thought-provoking, as ICF would call it, this helps aim and inspire them into their personal and professional growth. So I think it would be very beneficial to include that under your training strategy because who wouldn't want folks in their organization that are professionally and personally growing all the time? So I just think that it's an excellent idea to do it and to keep it as a part of your strategy. According to a lot of research, again, including the ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, they say that at least 86% of companies get at least their minimum investment back, if not more. So right there, that's a great business case to do it if you're getting back the investment you put out for coaching, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. That's a great return on investment, and I'm glad you threw that number out because my next question is, with tight budgets, how can coaching be a consideration?
Again, another good question. The first thing that comes to mind is when budgets are tight, I think, if I could speak so freely, coaching needs to happen more. And the reason I say that is that when you engage your leaders, your executives, in coaching relationships and partnerships when budgets are tight, that could be one of the concerns or the challenges that they're working on through their coaching relationships. How to increase productivity, how to increase profit margins, and how to make more money for your company. So the advice that I give everybody that's listening tonight is to get creative. Partner with some volunteer coach organizations that are approved and certified by the ICF if money is really tight. It's an investment and a cost if you don't get your leaders, coaches that are making the most vital decisions in your business, that are affecting how you make money and that are driving hundreds, if not thousands of people that are following them. So some ideas and tips that I could throw out there for our listeners tonight are, not only should you partner with a volunteer coach, maybe invest in some long-term solutions and strategies, similar to what even Lockheed Martin is doing. Invest in programs to train coaches in-house so that you have some of that, the ability to do that directly in-house, and you can mix it up with internal and external coaches, if that makes sense. Look at different websites, whether it's the ICF website or strong coaching organizations, and talk to people about how to make it an investment that they can afford. I looked at some data a couple of months ago with the corporate executive board, and one of the things that they talk about is when HR budgets drop, what's the first thing to go? And 45% of the money that goes is around professional training and development. So that number scares me because that's when people need to be developed the most, is when budgets are tight. Because what happens, as you know, you start losing people. You can't retain your organization. So it's
right.
just a wide... Mm-hmm.
Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go right ahead.
So you're right. You do lose talent either through sometimes restructuring, reorging, downsizing. But I love the idea of training your own. So finding out who's interested in becoming perhaps an internal coach and training them to be able to perform that in that area. But also to volunteer organizations. So many of the organizations like the CTI, the Coaching Training Institute, I'm certain as a part of the program, has it set up such that the students have to coach organizations or individuals, before they can graduate from the program.
Exactly, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because not only would you get, if not a volunteer, you can get so many volunteer hours as a coach, but most have to be paid. A creative thing that a lot of programs, Georgetown, CTI, other programs recommend, you charge people a discounted rate while you're in process. So at least you have a trained coach while they're waiting for certification. So people may charge you an eighth or a fourth of the price that they would charge once they're done. One other tip that I'd like to give all listeners, all leaders, professional or personal leaders in your life, professional coaching is something you can invest in yourself, even outside of an organization. So many of the clients that have come to my personal organization to get coaching have paid out of their own pocket because they realize that it's something that they need. So they may sacrifice somewhere else in their budget for a short term that will produce long-term effects, like promotions, stepping out of a job, stepping out of a career or industry into something new. So my advice, get creative when budgets are tight and just do your research. Contact your local ICF chapter, contact the local coaching schools in your area, and figure out a way to build a sustainable internal coaching method until you can afford some of the other external methods.
So, Ayana, how does coaching, how does it support leadership development then?
I like to talk about this from a very personal lens as well as a coach. One of my mottos in coaching is turning boldly into your passion and purpose. So when I think about your question of how does it support leadership development, when our leaders turn boldly into what they're passionate about and what their purpose is, then, the easiest way to put this is you don't have to beg someone to do something that they love. So I want you all to just take a minute and pause and think about somebody who's just really passionate. When's the last time you had to beg them to go to training or had to beg them to do something? You just don't. So supporting leadership development is helping people identify their passion and their purpose and lining that up with your business mission. So sometimes it's taking those risks to say, I'm going to move Gloria from this position or I'm going to move Bob from this position to that because they have the skill set and the passion to do it. So having a coach allows you to do things like have assessments, whether it's Myers-Briggs assessments, better known as MBTI, whether it's a 360-degree feedback assessment, which helps you understand how people see your behaviors in the workplace. There's a number of different assessments, strength finders, for example. Having a coach allows you not only to have those assessments, but to have those honest conversations about and those conversations that engage you in self-awareness and those conversations that help you to identify what you're good at. That in turn helps the organization have leaders that you could almost have to beg them to go home because they don't want to at the end of the day. So what better way to get leadership development than that,
We're going to go to a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our interview with Ayana Coston, Certified Life and Executive Coaching, on Coaching for Transformation. Stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Did you know that when you take a BluPrint Leadership Institute course, you can earn credits towards your PHR, SPHR, and GPHR recertification? The BluPrint Leadership Institute is certified by the Human Resource Certification Institute and by the International Accreditation Organization. Earn CEUs in project management, finance, executive development, and in other disciplines that will keep you current as a 21st century business leader. Register today. www.blueprint-llc.com.
Welcome back to BluPrint Radio. I'm Gloria Thornwell, your BluPrint Radio show host. We're discussing today part 3 of our 3-part series, Executive Coaching, and our guest is Certified Life and Executive Coach Ayana Coston. So, we're talking a little bit about coaching for transformation. So I'm going to dive a little bit into some other questions that talk a little bit more about how coaching can help the organization in any transformation and change processes. So my first question is, how can coaching initiatives accelerate organization and individual transformation?
Wow, I like the use of the word accelerate there. And I think there's a number of ways that coaching can accelerate any type of change or transformation. And I look at coaching as a process for behavioral change. And, studying to become a coach, there's just some pioneers, Whitcomb, Kimsey House, for example, that say in all of their research and all of their books things like, while most people may come to coaching, Gloria, for very different reasons, the one thing that always remains the same, the one bottom line, is that people want change. So by bringing coaching into organizations at an individual level or an organizational level, you automatically are transforming behavior, which transforms how your business is being run. And, as an HR professional, an OD professional, and a coach, change is the crux of the work that we do, which I know that you know well from BluPrint and what you do in your organization. So allowing people the time and the space to just be reflective so that you can have some sustainable change through 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 60-minute conversations. When people leave a coaching conversation, they usually step up their game. They amp up their game, if you will, which allows the organization to transform in a different way around people, personality, and even profits. Those are those 3 Ps that I always refer to. So, if the goal is to have sustainable change, then it's important for business and performance results that you allow people the opportunity for self-reflection and to become more aware and, at the end of the day, more accountable. And, if we remember that coaching is around a partnership being key. It's not just a change that you tell somebody to do and it just sticks. It's the partnership of helping them understand why they need it. Change will naturally happen, and it will happen at an accelerated pace when people understand coaching and how it's valued in that organization.
I love that response. It hit all of the major points in terms of accelerating transformation, and it's a really critical process. And I believe that organizations and people and individuals rather need a partner and a coach. Excuse me. During the transformation and change process. Let me ask you another question, and that is, how can coaching drive organization engagement?
That's a very, very intriguing question when in today's business world there's so many topics and all hands meeting around how do you keep people engaged? And I love this because coaching drives organizational engagement just by default. And it's a great default because people, when they feel cared for, forget coaching for a minute, and let's just talk about human values, just feeling valued and needed as a mother, a wife, a husband, a friend. When people feel like they're able to help or even be cared for by somebody else, I feel like they're more present and they're more engaged in that relationship. So if we step out of the professional and business realm just for a minute and put on the personal realm, it's the same thing. When you're paid attention to, when somebody invests in you and a coach and the time to develop personally and professionally, then I feel like people are automatically by default going to be engaged. Think about those people that I like to call the hidden rocks in the organization. Lots of talent, maybe not so much, but those hidden rocks that aren't paid any attention to, they sit there. And by not being motivated, by not being engaged, they cost the company money. Oh, money, by the way, that if we got rid of those hidden rocks or paid more attention to them, we'd have more money to invest in coaches, right? But we want to make sure that people are visible and that people know that they're cared for. And by providing someone with a coach for a short period of time, you don't want to have a coach for your entire career, but at different points, that's just going to allow people to, I think, just personally give more and do more and going to be more motivated. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we want to execute on our business needs, people that are fully engaged and not just showing up for a paycheck or not just showing up to do the minimal, but that are giving you 125% of what they got, if not more.
So can you describe for us why coaching ethics or how coaching ethics and confidentiality play a key role in coaching success?
You know, Gloria, if we had a whole radio show just on that question, I think we'd have enough material, for that one. And this is at the core of who I am as a coach and as a HR and OD professional. Why coaching ethics? Let's just start with the ethics alone play a key role in the coaching success. The ICF talks about coaching ethics all over their website. If you just go to their website, you can see that it's more than an ethical standard, but it's a legal standard. So coaches that don't demonstrate ethics and respect measures and just professionalism can lose their certification and can lose their qualifications, and we never want that. The danger that we play internally as coaches can be to get a little easy, or I'd say a little bit loose on what we think that we can disclose to other people, whether they're leaders that we support or just general company leadership. So having coaching ethics and confidentiality allows a few things. And the first one that I'll start with is it allows those leaders that are getting coached to feel comfortable. Having someone who feels safe, comfortable, and like they can really talk to that coach, whether they're internal or external, allows all of the things we talked about to happen. Business is going to accelerate and transform quicker. Because when someone can talk to you authentically and honestly, you can then coach what their real core issues are. Does that make sense? And so having the ability to coach from an authentic place, from a real place, when people are telling you the truth, adds so much more value for the money that you spend than a person who just will bring you a part of the story because they're afraid that, oh, Ayana's the coach that works in HR, and she's going to possibly tell someone how I feel or what's not important to me.
It makes complete sense, and I'm unsure if there are like coaching agreements that perhaps the coach signs and that the person being coached signs, so that it's understood that anything that's shared is confidential, and will be held to those standards.
Absolutely.
We are going to go right ahead.
No, go ahead. No, absolutely everything you said is right. You have to have that agreement.
We're going to go to a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to pick up on part 3 of our 3-part series and discussion on executive coaching, Coaching for Transformation. We'll be right back.
Did you know that when you take a BluPrint Leadership Institute course, you can earn credits toward your PHR, SPHR, and GPHR recertification? The BluPrint Leadership Institute is certified by the Human Resource Certification Institute and by the International Accreditation Organization. Earn CEUs in project management, finance, executive development, and in other disciplines that will keep you current as a 21st century business leader. Register today. www.blueprint-llc.com.
Welcome back to BluPrint Radio. Our discussion today is executive coaching, part 3 of a 3-part series, and I'm Gloria Thornwell, your radio show host. We are talking with Ayana Coston. She's a certified life and executive coach. Ayana, we have about 5 minutes left, and I want to ask you a couple more questions. My next question is, how can organizations create their own internal coaching program? Like, what ingredients, what pieces are required to do so?
That's a great question, because that's the reason that I exist. I spend almost a little bit of time every day trying to see what organizations are doing, as that's a major part of my role today. So I would say for anybody that's interested in really truly creating an internal coaching process, that it's vital that they take their time and do the research before they just jump into, Gloria, hey, we're going to have a program. I think that they need to spend some time working with other companies that do it well, and spending some time with the Coaching Federation, whether it's one in your local chapter or at a national level. And some of the questions that they can ask of these organizations are, how long ago did you get started? And what was the driving business need? Having a clear understanding of what the business needs are and what your business needs is going to help you to just be able to get the crux of the research that you need to actually build this internal program. The other thing that I'm going to recommend that they have is a very strong internal champion, a leader. Whether that's your CEO, your head of HR, you have to have someone who's willing to champion the effort and to invest some dollars into that program. Gloria, the next thing I'd say you need is some able bodies, and those are people that understand the functioning of coaching, that are trained as coaches, possibly certified as coaches, that can partner together to find the resources that they need to build it. More than anything, you need able and willing leaders and executives that will be coached. We can do everything I just said, and you can have an organization that doesn't believe in coaching or doesn't want to do it, and you've wasted a lot of time and possibly money. So if folks are thinking about bringing these programs in-house, I just really recommend that you ask yourself, why do I want it and what's the business need, and spending as much time as you possibly can researching best practices. The last thing you want to do is move so swiftly and so quickly that you bring in a bad program and lose credibility. Because once credibility is lost in organizations, Gloria, it's really hard at a later date to bring it back in.
Absolutely it is. And so, as you said, you have to be credible. It's good to be credible from the beginning. And one of the ways to make the program credible is to have the upper leadership buy-in into the program. That just it will help to make all of the difference. My final question for you, Ayana, is as an individual leader, how can one identify a coach?
Yeah, as an individual leader, there are tons of resources online. Again, I referenced the ICF so many times in our interview today because that is the foundation of professional coaching. So I would really start with going to their website, and there's a section on their homepage that says Need Coaching. And there you will find a various amount and a lot of resources around assessments. There are certain questions that anyone looking for a coach wants to ask their possible coach. I also recommend, Gloria, that you interview more than one person. Coaching is about chemistry, not just about skill. So you want to partner with a coach that may be more passive if that's what you need, or more aggressive if that's what you need, or more or less direct. So the ICF provides a basis for you to go out and see sample questions that you can ask coaches as you interview them. Once you have an idea about the questions you want to ask, you can also do a search under their member directory for coaches all over the world. And I think that that's a great place to start, as well as just some of the major companies that are known for hiring coaches. For instance, Lominger Korn Ferry comes to mind instantly. The Hay Group comes to mind. There are large organizations that specialize in providing you coaching to fit your needs and your budget. But I would just likely get started with ICF and even with your local coaching schools and talk to some people. Talk to other executives that you know and ask them for recommendations. Most of my clients have come through word of mouth with little or no marketing, because once somebody has a great experience, they're more likely to tell you to their coworkers and their friends. Absolutely.
Ayana, we are out of time, and I absolutely love this topic, which is why we had a 3-part series on it. I want to thank you so much for joining BluPrint Radio. I enjoyed your time with us today, and I'm sure that our listening audience got some confirmation on how coaching initiatives are very important to organization change and organization transformation and individual transformation, for that matter, but specifically in an economy that's more competitive and global than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you again.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to be a guest about a topic I'm so passionate about, Gloria.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Ayana, for joining BluPrint Radio. To learn more about BluPrint, visit us at www.bluprint-llc.com. That's www.blue, without the E, BLU, print-llc.com. Thank you for joining BluPrint Radio. We hope you will join us each Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, take care.
Join BluPrint Radio each Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. BluPrint Radio host Gloria Thornwell interviews organization leaders on trends and best practices in business and human capital management, business and human resource leadership, and being a change champion in the new global business economy. www.blogtalkradio.com /BluePrint LLC.